Okay, I had to pause and make sure that my audio was working. So, to pick up where I left off, aside from getting a cup of coffee, I've done nothing out of habit this morning. Our habit flows, I see, are like streams of flowing water, made deeper, of course, based on the number of times we've entered the stream. Naturally, the deeper, the more difficult to overcome. Habits can be both good and bad, of course, and thus cannot be faulted just for being habits. Yet, this is to view them from within or from their level. There is another way to view habits, from a higher level, or from outside of them, from a position of not being identified with them, of not observing from within them. So, let's take a step up, perhaps in imagination to the fourth dimension, and take another look. What does habit look like from here? We notice right away, first, that things look distinctly different from this perspective. First, everything seems neutral. We've lost the sense of the value judgments of good and bad. Things just are. But, moving beyond that, what about habits? It is here that they are seen as streams flowing. From here, we can even see ourselves, our body-mind, if you are sufficiently disidentified from both body and mind to do this, and watch the daily self in action as it gets caught in these habit flows. Some are entered into willingly, of course. Some of these habits we have worked long to create, and we watch as the self relies on them, seeming to take strength and comfort from them. We see how the multitudinous flows all interact and intersect, some joining their flows together, the one helping the other, but most of them create interference patterns of one sort or another. We simply observe, not judging. And as we take a closer look at the self there, going about its daily business, what do we notice? I notice that when my self is flowing with a habit pattern, it is a little bit like sleeping. There is a certain unconsciousness to it. I notice that myself is thus not aware of each precious moment of the now. While being carried along on the habit stream, I seem disconnected from the present moment, and more in tune with the past, maybe, or stretched out into the future. That is the big lesson I take from this, that to function from habit, it is to be, at least for me, unconscious in the now. I see the habit-driven self as functioning in a dream, acting and awake, but awake to the dream reality and not to the present moment. Now, to me, this is actually rather funny and a bit challenging to take in. Why? Well, because I know this whole 3D life itself is a dream, and I'm serious about that, quite serious. So, to understand what I perceive here, let's pretend just for a moment that our waking reality really is just another level of dreaming, okay? Just for a moment, pretend. So, what does one do when confronted with the fact that to act in habit is to be unconscious in the dream? What is that? So it appears that there are levels within the dream. There are deeper and deeper levels of unconsciousness available to be experienced, and acting from habit takes one to a deeper level of dreaming and unconsciousness. Okay, that works. That makes heart sense. But wow, it has a lot of implications. And my challenge here is that the only ones who will understand this and realize the reality of it are those who have come to realize, or at least had a taste of the reality, that third-dimensional life is well and truly a dreamscape. Quantum physics opens a window for us on this, showing how there is really no such thing as a solid substance, no matter what our apparent experience says to the contrary. That's just part of the dreaming, to take the ephemeral and clothe it with solid reality, just like any nighttime dream. So, knowing that every atom is 99.999% empty space, then shouldn't it be obvious that I can pass my hand through this table or walk my body through that wall? After all, empty space through empty space with so little of substance to clash or crash should be no problem, right? Now, may I suggest that we drop down into heart space, for the mind tends to become frightened when discussing such things. This takes it into a realm where it just doesn't feel comfortable. Can you sense a fear stirring maybe, perhaps just below conscious awareness? The mind likes to always be in control and to understand everything. While this is fine within the realm of the usefulness of mind, right now, for most of us, mind has become a usurper of our power, our kingdom of the rightful dominion of heart. So, let's enter heart space and view this whole thing from there. We really need to be there anyway, for mind is not well equipped to view things from 4D. So, back to viewing our habit streams. What I take from this, maybe I already knew, but let's see. I take from it that habit is the defilement of the present moment. Is that correct? Not necessarily, I see. Well, from the perspective of mind, I just have to say, I don't know, because I don't. To be in habit is to be caught in another flow, that of time. Time and mind are linked, so all of this is to be captured in 3D. Why captured? Because we are blasting off, up and out of the third dimension, and off into 4D and 5D, and perhaps some even beyond these. Yet, as long as we remain locked in mind, under its rule and dominion, we won't achieve liftoff. So much more is available to us, one and all these days, but it helps much to know this, and to willingly play one's part in it. In a sense, we are all being dragged along toward the 2012 thing, the great shift, like it or not. But it need not be so. As we know, knowledge is power. The phone rang just then, and the conversation pulled me into my email, where I found myself replying to a friend's message about her many seemingly massive physical difficulties she's been having lately. While that perhaps is mundane, what happened next is not. As I clicked to expand our back and forth conversation out in Gmail, to refresh my recall of all we'd said, I contemplated my response to her. But when I went down to where I would respond, I found a bunch of text already there. I don't even know if I hit reply yet, but I probably did. I certainly didn't put anything down yet, however. Heck, I was still searching for where to put the cursor. And even if I had no thought of putting that in there.